We're EarthForce. We are a national nonprofit and the home of Environmental Action Civics. In field chats, you'll hear research-based, actionable tips and inspiring stories of youth-adult partnerships that empower young people to become environmental decision makers. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to Field Chats, Environmental Action Civics Essentials, brought to you by EarthForce. I'm Taylor Ruffin, and I'm joined today by some program team members and Vince, special guest for today. Today's episode's a little different. We're wrapping up this year, really thinking about the people and ideas that influence EarthForce's work. And before we reflect, really want to give a shout out and say our community, all of you out there listening and involved in EarthForce and Environmental Action Civics work, you're incredible. You're amazing. We could not do this without you. All of those individuals we learn alongside and shape this field are really what this episode today is about. So let's dive in. How y'all doing today? How you doing? How's the year wrapping up for you?
I'm doing
first
great.
day back from vacation. Sorry.
Heck yeah, Vince.
And I'm doing great too, Kristen, just as you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I'm glad that EarthForce takes this like nice break at the end of the year. And so looking forward to that, but kind of, it's just that time where you start reflecting on like, oh, what have we done this year? What has this year been about? Kristen and SJ are doing our holiday party, our virtual party next week, and we had a zine. Zine. Oh gosh, I'm so middle-aged. But the zine, and they sent it out, and it's like all this reflection of the year, which is really cool. Some of the gatherings that we've had and the cool stuff we've done. So it's just really fun to be reflecting. Some great podcasts, some good gatherings. We've had some really good research that's come out, and some cool stuff that we've been learning more and digging more deeply into our work. So excited to wrap up the year here today. But we are here today to talk about the people and the ideas that influence EarthForce's work. And so like just thinking back, all of us kind of coming with a different flavor, what are the things that stand out to us as what maybe in our time period with EarthForce have we seen that has really influenced environmental action civics or the work that we do. And so I'm going to kick us off, and big shout out to Lauren Gibson. I actually get to see her today, which is so cool. But yeah, so Lauren helped us in 2020. We did a redesign of our professional development stuff with a lot of other really incredible folks. But something that Lauren brought to the table in that was all of this work and research and ideas on youth-adult partnerships. And EarthForce has been steeped in youth voice and youth decision-making for a long time. That's the basis of where we come from and what we do. But I think we when we found this language that Lauren brought to us of youth-adult partnerships and really dug into that, it really like blossomed in our work. And I think our work has really improved because of that. So I think we're going to connect to this in the notes if possible, but a couple of the key things that were pointed out in that like youth adult partnership model that really tie well into EarthForce's model are authentic decision making, natural mentorship, reciprocity of learning, and community connectedness. And so you can see those key pieces of youth adult partnerships in, I think, the work we do, and especially like our essential experiences and stuff. So just a big shout out to you, Lauren, and to everyone who's done so much of the work and research on youth adult partnerships. That's been a really cool, I think, add to EarthForce's work. Taylor, what do you think? What's on your list?
Yeah, because given the prompt, thinking about my experience with EarthForce, because when I came on board, it was certainly my first run in with this kind of model. And I think engaging with a lot of the partners in the RISE challenge helped me understand what it meant and how it was used. So I kind of coming in with this idea of oh, this is a tool or a methodology and how it can be applied to different communities. So within the RISE Challenge, we had these partner sites in Montana and Utah and Illinois, and then myself in Colorado. And so seeing how everyone else utilizes it to essentially for that program create community resilience against natural hazards in their community. I think the utilization of EAC and its adaptability and how people kind of make it work for them and address their community needs was really inspiring. And then taking that, and then as I continue to work and train other people and talk to other people about it, kind of really showing them that it is something that can be worked with, I guess. It doesn't always have to look exactly the same, or its application, especially with a lot of things you mentioned, Alyssa, the youth adult partnerships elements and those things, and how you engage with youth and facilitate the process. It's more of this model where it has this community and collective elements that I really appreciate coming from my background. So that's what I've always enjoyed. And I couldn't really do it without those partners either, like the impact and how the work gets done can only be done in this collective way, and how we share those ideas. And then that's why I was really stoked on the community of practice and continuing to expand and bring in all of these unique perspectives and how they utilize EAC.
That's great. That's awesome. Well said. That community connectedness and partnership. Very cool. What do you think, Kristen?
I suppose I'm up. Yeah, so when I thought about this, I thought about kind of like looking way back into sort of my development as an educator, which is really also tightly entwined with how I ended up at Earth Force. I was trained in Earth Force during my first year teaching, but I just wanted to share this book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire, classic. This is a book that a lot of pre-service teachers read, as I did, and then I read it again last year in a sort of like non-academic context, just with some friends to reflect on it and kind of think about, how we are developing as educators, several years out from being in school, and just reading it in a more lived in way was really awesome. But basically in the text, he talks about the banking model and the problem posing models of education. And our work here at Earth Force really resonates with me with the problem posing model. So for quick summary, banking model is very teacher centered. We deposit knowledge into students as if they were banks. Teacher knows all and delivers knowledge to students, whereas in the problem posing model, it's much more in conversation with students, in dialogue. Students are thinking and acting through the learning in a much more present way. And he talks about, teaching and dialogue and kind of breaking down that hierarchy among teacher and students, where you as the educator are also learning while you are teaching, being taught while teaching, and students are learning alongside you. And Alyssa, you were talking about youth adult partnerships. That to me is a youth adult partnership, where we as educators are on the same plane as our students, and we're learning alongside them, with them, going through the process with them. And also there was a one quote that I highlighted, where in this like problem posing model of education, students come to see the world not as a static reality, but as a reality in process. And of course, like I know I see the word process and I'm like, ooh, how does that fit in with our process? But as a reality in process, and we talk about things like an ask for change. Our reality isn't static. We have the agency. Our young people have the agency to make that reality a change in process. And then I think about things like our core training, right? Where we really encourage a lot of networking and a lot of peer-to-peer connections, where during those core trainings, like, we as the Earth Force facilitators are not the only folks bringing expertise to the room. And we have so many cool connections and community knowledge being shared and taught and learned in those spaces. And with the core training that we just finished, that was super apparent. And there was just like such a buzz in the room of kind of everyone being a teacher and a learner at the same time, which was super powerful and really, really lovely to have all of those kind of new partners and new teachers in the room with us.
That's cool. Thanks for reflecting it back to like the core training and stuff too. It's like that other level. It's really good. Love that reciprocity.
Yeah. And Vince, I heard that you have a double header for us.
Don't I always try to
Yeah.
add something extra? No.
Do a little more.
Well, actually, Kristen, I thought you were going to do an honorable mention, and I thought if you did 2, then I could get to do 3. So,
Well,
is
do
that
we have
not how it
time for the
works?
honorable mention?
Let's do
I
it.
think we
Oh,
do,
yeah.
yeah.
So the honorable mention is this data equity deck. It sits on my desk. And we got this data equity deck from our pals at Data Plus Soul. We actually just finished a series of workshops with our friend Evan Kuras. But the data equity deck, let's see here, meant to spark internal reflection, curiosity, and discussion for anyone who wants to infuse more equitable and culturally responsive practices into their work. And so this deck of cards has all sorts of questions to kind of prompt some juicy conversation and practices into whatever it is that you're doing. So we use this for when we're talking about our program development, when we're talking about our evaluation. I'll just pick one here. How are you defining expertise and who holds it? Very relevant to what we were just talking about. But we use this periodically and like guaranteed to find a juicy question within the data equity deck. So thanks, Evan. Thanks, Data Plus Soul. Shout out to y'all for the data equity deck.
Yep. Yeah, thanks for bringing that one up, Kristen.
Yeah, thanks for both of those, actually. They were all very good. And one of the things, as you were talking, Kristen, and as you were talking, Taylor, one of the things that I think must be mentioned is the last 6 or 7 years, we've had a fantastic staff who have dug so deeply into environmental action civics and what all the little components are and how the pieces work and so on and so forth. And I think that has been incredibly insightful and helpful and such. But that is not one of my 2, unfortunately. That's just a bonus one as the word goes. My honorable mention only is probably the baseline foundation. My first is, and as you were hearkening back, Kristen, I was hearkening back perhaps a little bit further to the Constitutional Rights Foundation, which like 40 years ago, 35 years ago or something, wrote this handbook called Active Citizenship Today. And it became one of 2 strains of service learning. One strain went in the direction of civics, the stuff that we do, and the other strain went in the direction of service or volunteering. And our original work was based on that work by the Constitutional Rights Foundation. I think they later stopped doing it, or they don't do it anymore. But their original ideas of kids engaging with decision makers was outlined right there. And that, I think, was incredibly influential for us from the start. But that being said, like a lot of organizations, after we were probably 10 years old or 15 years old, somewhere around in there, we had started to have some mission creep. And so we were doing things like taking kids out to watersheds to gather data. It's an excellent thing, but not an Earth Force thing necessarily, or having kids meet with the guy that drove the vacuum truck and picked up leaves and talk about mulch. Also a really interesting thing, but not quite us. And we had kind of a crisis. We lost a big funder, and we had a big board meeting about what we were going to do. And the board was very clear in their messaging to us, and it was focus. Find the thing that you're special at, find the thing that you're good at, and focus and get better and better at that. And in particular, Kit Ambrose, a longtime board member, and Anna Brown, who was one of the original youth advisory board members and now is our board chair, were the voices that were saying, we gotta focus and get good at what we do. And I think I don't know how long it's been, the last 10 years or something. It's been at least 9. That advice has driven our work and made us, I think, so focused on this environmental action civics thing and gotten so good at it. And then all of the things that you guys bring in, I think, have been built off that base. And so mine are a little bit external and not so much about the content necessarily, but those are foundational things for me.
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it does really show how complex it can be. Like, we have so many different people doing so many different things to make this happen. So I think it's really great to articulate, like, look at all these amazing people. And that's just 4 of us giving a few examples. So I'm certain there are a few out there that have worked with us or partnered with us So shout out to you, unnamed folks. I know you're out there. And thank you so much for your hard work and working with us. Does anyone have any final thoughts before I wrap it?
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Fabulous roundup, y'all.
Yeah,
it was great. Thanks for joining us, Vince. Glad you were able to come today.
Thanks for inviting me. It's fun. I love hearing you guys' thoughts on this.
And those of you tuning in, thank you for joining us today. And as always, let us know what you think over at earthforce.org/podcast. And don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you have a lovely rest of your day and a holiday.
Yeah, and see you in the new year, 2026.
Woo.
Yeah, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.